after disappointments in Houston sports, you know who you can rely on? The Houston Dash to give you some more during this weekend. Well, welcome all back to the Bayou City Soccer podcast. We're the Orange and Blueprints. I'm your host, Manny Oliveras, to talk you once again more about Dash and a good, exciting win well, I think it was a good, exciting win. It's most of the time it was hard to think about, but after Friday, it was a late Friday game. But I'm not here by myself. I got Diego up at close and personal.
He's trying to close the door.
I
That
know,
is
man.
that
Man,
is
I
the
was
beauty of having a New York City apartment. But how are we all doing? Diego here. Again, very struggling to close this. Um,
bro.
I don't know. I don't think the game was that bad, but it wasn't our best. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think it was a typical dash performance. I think we were good one half, and then the second half we just
That's
fell
fair.
off.
That's a fair
Yeah,
assessment.
I think that was basically another dash performance, another one half dash performance. But you know, we're here to talk about more of that. I think it's a really interesting game. I think we want to deep dive into it and what we thought. I think it was a really interesting game, of course, and then uh and then as well, gave everything ready for this weekend's game against Washington. That's a very a spicy game. I think that's the. I think to be honest, I wasn't thinking the coming game will be the game of the season for Dash, but it is at this point of the season. It is the
Oh,
game of.
absolutely.
I think other than the KC game, I don't think no one uh is gonna bet Dash to go against the KC, but we'll talk more about that as we get there. But let's go back to the Houston Dash versus the Chicago Stars. It happened on Friday night at Shell Energy Stadium. It was Noche Latina night, I believe. Yes, man, you see,
What
man,
do
this,
you believe?
bro. I was there, bro. It's like, bro, I felt,
You
man.
were there. We are the we
Bro,
are the
bro,
premier Dash podcast.
bro. It was Friday, bro. It felt like it was like 5 weeks ago at this point. I felt like it was 5 weeks ago how this week is turning out to be. I felt like it was 5 weeks ago, but
Whoever's in this chat, I can't tell who's in this chat, but whoever is, call this man a fraud right now.
bro, no,
Call this man
it
a
was.
fraud.
You know
A
how I
fraud.
remember. You know how I remember Noche Latina night, because I asked a coworker because they went on Friday to give me a towel and they didn't. So now I remember. I remember it was. Yeah, nah, I got it. I got it. They gave out 3 towels. But it was interesting the way the game folded out. I think the first thing we saw on the news on team sheet, Chapman was out on bench to put Michelle Lozzi in the fullback position. They dropped Lynn for Malia Berkeley, who was her first start, and of course, Maggie Graham was out of the season, so they put Sarah Putigam in that sixth position, where Maggie was at. I think, and it was really interesting how the game folded because it was. I think the first half was really, really entertaining. The dash. I feel like Berkeley was in the back line, passing and getting the ball up front, pushing and getting everyone in. Yasmin Ryan had her first very good game, dominant because now she's back in that middle role, sixth role. So it was very, you can see that she was very into it. Of course, she got that goal very mid in the second half, in the first half, in 28th minute. And after that, I think, but once halftime hit, I feel like the game just shifted to Chicago. Chicago started to dominate. Chicago started to get more in the dashes box. I feel like it was very, very hard for the dash to secure uh, the win, especially even after late in the second half. The dash conceded a penalty, got a penalty. Yasmin Ryan came in to slot it in, but of course, Alyssa Nair, as always, likes to do likes to do goat things. That's why she's the goat at this point.
Fun fact about Alyssa Nair, real quick. On her way back from Chicago, we actually met up, me and the Florida women's soccer, who we were gonna go play in Chicago. We met up with Alyssa Nair, and I'm so glad that I did not spot her because I would have talked so much.
Man. But come on, man. But I think it just shows like even though she's retired from the U.S. women's national team, she has quality, just quality, quality, quality. And so I think at that point, the dash grinded out for the last couple stoppage time to get the win. I think you just go to you. Anything from this performance that you want to highlight before we dive deep into other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, Yaz had a great game. I think off the get go, we really rarely see her, at minute one really get into the game. I felt like she's had to kind of get her groove into the game in order to really be dangerous. And I think this is an exception to that status quo. I think right from minute one, she was dangerous. She put in two great chances before she ended up netting her third chance, which ultimately led to that goal, the lone goal, unfortunately. But throughout the game. Despite the penalty miss, I felt like Yaz was dangerous, and that's kind of like a word that we've kind of started to see now more and more in the second half of the season, instead of the first, where we see a dangerous Yasmin Ryan, and I think that's like a really key thing coming into these next couple of games because we're going against tough opponents. I think we're getting to a point where every single player on that field needs to be dangerous, not just good, not just great, but dangerous. That kind of danger where you can switch it on and off and it doesn't necessarily matter when in the game you're needed. That danger can still be lurking, and I think Yaz kind of showed that. Three straight near goal chances, and then netting in that third chance. I think another standout performance. I think Malia was really solid defensively. I think for her being her first game, considering that like she's had to adapt to a whole new system, I think that her style fits Fabrice's system really well. I appreciated the fact that she was good on the ball, good moving forward, and I think that was really good from her, even though it was limited minutes. Um, yes, Chicago looked very dangerous, especially the second half, but I appreciated the fact that the back line were able to neutralize that. I don't know about you, but every single time that Chicago kind of like stormed into our final third, I think I wasn't necessarily as worried as most people were when it comes to those chances or those breaks, especially when they utilize their wingers and try to like move up the field. But I think those are all great signs, but I feel like we're having the same conversation of we need to click, we need to get things going. We need the defensive performance that we had last weekend against Chicago, but with an offensive performance like San Diego, where it's like it doesn't matter who's defending, we can slice up defenders, we can pass tiki taka style, we can move through the fast break or transitional play. I think that kind of flexibility and danger is going to be needed. I mean, Manny, you asked me, I don't remember whether it was before or after we started recording, but this Washington game coming up, whether it's the game of the season. Well, if we're talking game of the season, we need to have the performance of the season. And those are the things that we kind of subtly saw in Chicago, but we need to turn that subtlety into explicitness.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is very I think this game shows a lot of flexibility in the squad. I think most importantly, having a new player like Malia Berkeley, I think many people were very skeptical on the trade. Trading Natalie Jacobs for Malia Berkeley. I think off the bat, you see what she can offer on the ball and the back line. I think, no disrespect to Natalie Jacobs, that she was very, I think, put herself on the line most of the time when it comes to the ball, but not very much after that. But Malia Berkeley feels like a type of player. I think after seeing her first game, Diego, I think we just want to see what was you think her I think her first performance on the field, was it like you feel like it was a good upgrade from Natalie Jacobs? No disrespect of Natalie's performances as well.
Yeah, definitely. Natalie Jacobs was, I would say, one of those players that has stood this as a time when it comes to dash icons per se. I think
Mhm.
her impact culturally on the team, on and off the field, is undisputed. But I kind of touched upon this when I talked about my overall thoughts on the game. But I felt like Malia was a little better on the ball, a little quicker, a little more technical of a center back. I think with that kind of style, it benefits a lot more under Fabrice's system than a Natalie Jacobs, which is a little more physical, a little less technical. And I think you're kind of trading that physicality just slightly. But I mean, look at what's going to happen within the next couple of games. You're going to
Yeah,
be facing off against not big presences in the box, not really commanding figures in the attack. You're going to be facing off against technical players that can use skill moves, that can dribble, that can be agile, that can be quick. I think all of these tools, you don't necessarily want a bigger defender. I think that smaller defender that can really easily move the ball. I think that's something Fabrice has been looking for. And yes, Natalie Jacobs has been great in filling that role for this part of the season. But I think Malia is just going to be a little bit more natural in that kind of style. And I think that's going to be a lot more beneficial for the Dash as a whole. Because I mean, look at what we saw in Chicago. Chicago had so many attacks, but yet none of them really felt confident in the fact that, hey, they might actually score here. Moment the ball was crossed, moment that winger tried to push it in the middle with a pass or with a dribble, it never clicked. And I think that's just a sign of good defense. You saw Chicago have to pass the ball back once
yeah,
pushing into the final third as many times as they've missed shots. Then that's a sign of good defending. And it's those kinds of little things that you can't inherently see when you're just like watching the game that you are really proud of as a defender because you might not be making that massive Hollywood tackle every single play, but the Hollywood tackle does the same thing as you pressuring the winger having to pass it back. They both stop the run of play and they both limit the dangers. And I think Molly is going to be that type of player to not have really the flashy tackles, maybe not really have like the trademark grit as maybe a Barb in the midfield or something if she gets pushed up. I think she's more gonna really be technical and make those smart small decisions. Whereas I think Paige Nielsen is gonna push a little bit more on the physical side in order to complement that.
yeah. I think you need that. You don't need to. I think rough defenders. Like that's going to rough up the forwards. You need one. I think that just the way the game is going, you need one to be the strikers, another one to help you play from the back and help the ball keep moving forward. I think this is what the football is, and I think just wanted to mention, Natalie was never bad in a Houston Dash
Oh,
shirt. I think I
absolutely.
think I think people see this trade as like, okay, Natalie didn't deserve to go. It's not like Natalie didn't deserve to go, but I think it's just what the team needed it. It's what the bargaining chip to get that player, and and Natalie was it. Was the one day do and I feel like it's been good. It's a good signing so far. I think we'll see more how this her performance and against Washington, see how well she can do under pressure under this new back line. But I think also another change that I just wanted to mention, Michelle Lozzi in the back line instead
Mhm.
of Alicia Chapman, putting Avery Patterson on the left back as she has performed with the USA. Uh, how are your thoughts of it? Did you feel like it was a better flow, or do you feel like you should have Avery back in her natural position? It just gives you a test how Avery is good on switching fullbacks, but I just want to see how you felt about that switch in the back and the
I
fullback.
I do agree with you that Avery has the skill to kind of like be that all around Swiss Army knife when it comes to being a fullback. But I think this Chicago game, at least in my opinion, wasn't her best performance. This
Hmm.
was one of the few times where I kind of felt like, hey, like we're not seeing the Avery Patterson that's like lethal, that's kind of like commanding, trying to take on players. And I think maybe that's a system thing where it's like we have new players, we're trying to play a little more conservatively because yeah, I mean it's Chicago. It's a game that like mentally probably they were thinking, hey, we got the goal up. We don't really need to push. We don't really need to be aggressive. And that's all well and good, but I think I don't know if it's a positional problem when it comes to Avery or it's just a matter of like, hey, it's just a game. It happens. I didn't particularly note that huge of a difference for me to confidently say, hey, let's keep her in that position or
Mhm.
let's bring her back to right back. I think I want to see a little bit more because we really haven't seen Avery as a right back as of late, or as a left back. Sorry. Um, if I remember correctly, we've seen her kind of push up the midfield a little bit more than as a left back, and with Lisa coming in, I don't really think Fabrice is gonna at the get go put put Lisa as a right back. I don't think, especially when you have Avery Patterson, I don't see that happening.
Mhm.
So I think this might have just been a one-off game because of injuries, because you don't have Nat Jacobs anymore, which also kind of played that flex. How can you say that flex fullback position? So I think
Yeah.
all those things transitioning. I think you still kind of don't know how you want to play with Lisa. I think as long as I see like a more cohesive lineup off the get go against Washington, I'm perfectly fine with kind of the way that Fabrice played with things. I think his tactics I mentioned against Utah that they were the wrong moves. I think he made the right moves when it comes to the tactics and kind of the way he approached this game. I appreciated the fact that he really played into absorbing the Chicago pressure. I think he did that really well. I think tactically it worked, and so I have a lot of faith in what he's going to do against Washington. But I'm just hoping that I can actually see it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think also, I think we mentioned as prior before, Lisa hasn't played professionally over a month now, still in
Mhm.
preseason form technically, and still trying to get her feet, and her fitness in it. So it's really hard to understand or to see, when she will be fully integrated. I know she wasn't used in this game, but it just shows, that games are coming quick and fast, and it's very high intensity games. You don't want to put a player that hasn't, had a full preseason off the get go and wait for an injury, happen. But speaking of injuries, Jane Campbell had an injury in this game.
Mhm.
First, she was almost leaped off around the eighth, 7th minute, around that time. Discomfort on the leg, and then around the 30th minute, she couldn't continue on, and it was into Abby Smith, and it was at this moment of recording, when we talked to Fabrice during the press conference, there was no results or no update from the medical staff on this regard. So maybe hopefully by this weekend we'll see what he will say. But I think is it a concern uh, for us? I think because as well during that game, Abby Smith did have a knock as well.
Yeah,
So
I
and
mean,
so and so is it a concern, or we just hitting the panic button too early and see our status in the goalkeeper department?
I don't know, man. I asked Fabrice during the post game press conference who his third goalkeeper is. He said, honestly, I have no clue. So I'm just like, I'm a little scared, but I don't know. Everything should be wielded with a little bit of caution before pressing the panic button because I mean, we need to see what actually happens. At the end of the day, we can't panic and then Jane be completely fine, and then oh, what a waste of panic. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Of course, they have to have. Liz, Braidzel, Bear, Beardzelly. She has a long name. Yeah, and she just came back the from the injury report from injury, so she's back. She's been activated, and so she is ready to be called upon. I think at this point, but I think it's very hard to know at this point. We're so very early on the week. Uh, I could see Jane be out just for one weekend because of you don't want to rush her back. She has been pivotal. Even though, like you say, we're going to comment about going against a very dangerous Washington side. You kind of need all your best players playing, but it's understandable uh, if you're planning to go future, as in the postseason, as in like you want to have a deep run, you want to rest her and get her back into groove instead of maybe rushing her and causing the injury even more and having her maybe miss the whole season and so rest of the season and even the playoffs as well. So I think it's just very see how that goes. And hopefully Abby didn't have a bad knock as well. Hopefully it was just I think she did play the rest of the game. She did play good, real great as well. Her performance, but I just don't hope that she as well she get a knock. Also, one player we don't want to mention, I think for like we forget about her, Anna Helfredy. She came in the 80th minute, and she helped actually to concede to get a dash the penalty as well. She was very involved in that attack that led up to the handball in the penalty box. I know it's just 15 minutes of her play, but what do you say about her debut for the dash? I know Fabrice said and mentioned she has been very unlucky with the past 2 years of injuries.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's always nice to see players kind of step up after injury and kind of make those big moments count. I think drawing that penalty, even if it wasn't converted, I think it was a huge moment for the Dash. Don't really know where Fabrice might want her to fit outside of the super sub role. Sorry, Chris. And I'm
Like,
just like happy that we have a little more depth. Depth.
yeah,
I think there's not much else I could say because again, she only played 10 minutes, and so I need to see a little bit more.
I know it was just 10 minutes. It was very hard to very sample size because even though she played
Mhm.
only 2 games last season with Washington, but in the past 2 years she had been struggling with injuries, so it was really hard for her to get back on the groove because you don't want to be marked as that injured player. That's hard, but I think you saw in those 10 minutes she was very energetic. I think she was. It was a good breath of fresh air in the attack when she came in. Even though they marked her as a and they got even on foot mob, as a defender, but she was very, very pressing forward on the forward line and helping to get the ball, the dash in the final third, and making dangerous runs and making that. Even though it was a quick sample size, it's kind of easy to say that when you're in the 80th minute as new, fresh legs, trying to get into the Washington's, Chicago's uh, final third and try and get that. It's very hard to. It's deep in. Players are tired. Players are exhausted. And you're the fresh one, and so it's very. But I think Fabrice had good comments about her that like she was the type of player that the Dash could attract because of her style of play. So maybe it's Fabrice and Angela and the technical staff see something in her. Maybe
Maybe
because
they're cooking.
yeah, and also you gotta remember she's under a short term contract, so maybe she's just here for the end of the season, and if they like what they see, they might extend her and give her a full, full length contract. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes and see. But it's good to have players like that. It's good to have players that they look energetic, they're willing. I think especially her, as you mentioned, coming from injuries and everything she has something to prove herself, and that's what you need in this team. You need players to prove themselves, especially if you're trying to push that for that playoff position. And, with these results in Chicago, uh, you're 2 points away. I think we were just below the playoff position when this game ended. Of course, after that, North Carolina Courage won their game, so it jumped above the dash, and so now it's like a 2 point uh, separation now. So it's very, very, very tight. So every game matters. There's 5 games to go, and then of course, as you mentioned, the schedule is not easy. You have Washington, Orlando Pride that may look like on paper maybe one of the easier games. Sadly, just the way how Orlando's playing, and you got Angel City, Kansas City. Hopefully, by that point, Kansas City just is putting the bench. Putting the bench because they already won the Shield. There have been a team that has won. They broke the record as the team to won the Shield the
The
earliest,
quickest, yeah.
the quickest in the NWSL. So hopefully, of course, they're gonna start playing, still keep being in fitness because they want to go playoffs, they want to win that NWSL championship. So Hopefully, at least they take the gas off the brake just a little bit, but we don't know. We don't know. So hopefully that, and then of course Portland. So very hard in games coming up. So 5 games almost week to week, except the last week they have an international break. So there's a little bit of break by then, but it's gonna be coming up real fast. So hopefully for that. But now going into this weekend's game, Sunday noon kickoff at Washington Spirits. Washington has been very interesting. Very interesting. Even though I'll tell you
So good. They've been such a good team.
but I think what I want to say is very interesting because ever since CONCACAF Champions Cup has reinstated, I feel like Washington's form has not dipped but plateau. I'll show you. I'll tell you why. Since before the cup, they were undefeated, and once the cup started, there's nothing. They won against Alianza for the cup, and then the Base FC they won, of course. Everyone's being paid. They tied against Chicago. They went to Vancouver to do the Champions Cup. They beat Seattle, and after that was draw against Kansas City and draw against Angel City. Interesting though, uh, they're at home with the Dash on Sunday at 12, and then Wednesday they have a game against Gotham FC for the Champions Cup. So they have a tight
All I'm
schedule.
saying is, I have a question for you. How beatable do you think this Spirit team realistically is? Because
I
what
think
you just described to me was the best team in the league going to turning into a really, really, really good team.
yeah, it is a good form. It is a good form, but I think I'm just highlighting that I think when you're it's very hard because usually for the men's side for MLS, these cups are in the beginning of the season and not like very into like right now we're just the climax of your city season. That's that you try and get those wins and everything because at the moment the Washington, even though they're kind of secure playoffs, but they're still in that bubble, of like they need a few more wins for really secure it and have, you know, of course you want to have that higher berth to host the playoffs, but they're in that position plus trying to balance uh travel schedules and another competition midweek, So I think it's there's more games. It's very uh I think it's very if you're a Dash fan, you kind of worry because you don't know how much groove they get into this, but oh, man, it's very hard to put in words. Like you should be worried, but at the same time, you're trying to be optimistic. Okay, maybe this is where they kind of either hit a bump in the road of too many games. I think I'm just waiting for that bump. It's too many games, and see how it goes from there. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be reading into this too much, and it could be unbeaten for the rest of the second half of the season. And so it's very, very. Or the Dash could play spoilers and get in the first loss.
Maybe.
I don't know, but what do you think, Diego? What do you think about this Washington team?
I think they are still one of the best teams in the league. I think
Better than Kansas City?
I said one. There's nothing beating that Kansas City team, but yeah, I think this is still one of the best teams in the league, and I think that the way that they play tactically is extremely smart. I think even with Trinity Rodman being out a substantial amount of time, I think they were still excellent on the
Hmm.
ball, off it, their runs, their attacking force, their defense, everything about them makes a great team. And I think if the Dash really want to compete in this game, they're going to have to take kind of a Chicago approach where they're going to have to absorb pressure. They're going to have to move through transitional play and not really, they cannot play tiki taka. They cannot move the ball with small passes. They have to look for mistakes, the one or two mistakes that Washington are going to make, and they have to capitalize on. This is what I'm kind of like alluding to earlier in the show about how Yasmin Ryan needs to be dangerous. Those are going to happen with one or two mistakes, and we need to be clinical.
Yeah, I think if you told me this Dash team in the beginning of the summer break, after when the summer break ends against this Washington, I would thought, easy, it will be an easy win for Washington, and there's no point of Dash. Well, point of us watching the game because at this point, because but I think the Dash has improved a lot. But I don't know. I think if they get a draw, I think that's a statement draw for the Dash that they have improved a lot. You know, if they get the win, that's just even a statement win. Because I think what was the game they played against with the
Orlando?
Washington? No, what
Oh,
last time they played in March, Washington against the Dash. I think it was they played here. I remember they played here at home, and like it was really one of the first games. And the Washington barely beat the Dash 2-1. I remember that game, but it was but it was very early on, and we thought the Dash looked good and Dash was great. It was the first game of the season. Trinity Rodman wasn't there, but I think this Washington side has matured. Players have gelled, and of course, as you say, Trinity Rodman is back. So, but also this Dash team is not the same as the Dash team they faced first face off. So it's very I think it's going to show a lot of the growth of this Dash team and then what Fabrice has to do with this. And so I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a very uh, a nail biter if you're a Dash fan nail biter because first you don't want to get hammered, but also a nail biter if becomes a close game and it ends as a draw. You know, but I think that's two perspectives of how I feel about this game. But I think I want to go with your thoughts and your predictions. How do you see the Dash fare in this game?
I think we're gonna. I'm saying we're tying. I'm not saying we're winning. That's way too optimistic. I think we've got a tie, and I think it'll be 1-1.
I
I
feel the
I just have a sinking feeling in my mind that it's gonna be like the Gotham game that we played earlier in the season, where it was 0-0 in the most absolutely disgusting game of soccer I've ever witnessed, and I have a feeling like it's the same thing
I, I
because
I feel the same way as well.
think of Gotham at that time being extremely lethal. This was right when Esther was kind of heating up, and it was like
Yeah,
everyone was looking at the Dash like, "Oh my God, they're gonna lose that game." And 0-0, yeah, it looks like a great result. The worst game of soccer I've ever seen, and genuinely, I expect the same because you're kind of talking about a team like the Dash that are going to fight. They're going to fight, and they're going to be gritty. And you're talking about a Washington Spirit, which is literally like like an unstoppable force. It's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object.
yeah,
Nothing's gonna happen.
yeah. It's gonna be a very, very interesting game. It's gonna be very. I feel the same as you. I feel it's gonna be just a 1-1 draw. It's gonna be very interesting how this team overcomes this Washington's attack. Not just only Trinity Ramen, but also you gotta think about players that supplement it. I think Hashford is back, I believe, in this game. I can't remember. She got a red card, but on Kansas City, so it should be back. Of course, Croy Buffoon, uh, uh, fantastic player, just barely getting back from her injury. Lacey Santos, who I highlighted, I think, at the beginning of the season, as well players to watch, and she has been great in this team. And you have players like maybe unsung heroes like Kwasi, who has been helping in the attack that has been going unnoticed. And of course, you have the new forward, Sonia Cantore, Italian forward again. So hopefully, we see if Lisa Boateng starts to match against her fellow country lady woman. And so we'll see. I know, sorry, it was like I always say countryman so much.
We're
Yeah.
both so tired. I can tell that we're both just so tired. I don't.
Oh man, I tell you, man, it's been that type of week. It has been like
It has been no, literally, Manny. You don't understand. I've talked to so many people today, and they all tell me the same thing. Oh, it's that kind of week.
I know that time of
It's
week. I
like
know this has been. I think what I need is a cold front. I think for me that's why I need a cold front. I need a cold front to like to to get me back to jolt me
fair,
back. Yeah, because
fair.
this heat like today was so hot. Houston was
It
just so
was
hot.
82 here in New York.
Bro, I'll take 82 over 90 over here in humidity. Bro, I'll take that any day. But I think it was just that. So, but I think overall we'll see how the game goes. We'll see how the players come out and play. But if we're wrong and the Dash do get a good result and win, I think that's gonna be just a huge statement. But
Oh,
I
that's
think
gonna be yeah.
yeah,
That's gonna be the result of the season, I would say.
yeah, I think like we mentioned, KC, you expect that to be a loss, just because of KC how they're playing, and
Mhm.
the other two games they just feel like you're just gonna be nail biters, as well. The other games as Orlando Pride might be a winnable game at this point. Angel City might be the game that might be the tightest because you two are trying to push secure playoff spot, and of course Portland. I think by that point we should be all secure as well. So it's very interesting, very tight. Uh, it's just it's more interesting watching the Dash than watching the Dynamo. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think the Dynamo do have a chance playing the playoffs, but I feel like the Dynamo has, it's not the Dynamo podcast, but I feel like the Dynamo has need results in their favor other than getting the win. While the Dash mostly everything's in their favor, they just have to pull the result. You know,
Yeah,
I think that's the difference about that. But it is what it is. I think the Dash is gonna be real interesting in this, and so hopefully we'll all see that. So please, please, please tune in to Sunday's game at noon. So we'll see what I think the turning point of the season. We'll see if we're in the playoffs or not by that pen. But thank you for all for tuning in. Diego's about to pass out, so that's why
I
we put
am. I need another cup of coffee. I have one more work I have to do.
cup of coffee,
Coffee.
coffee. But no,
Forget about it.
no, thank you for all for tuning in for coming into us. Please always look out for us at biocitysoccer.net. Always look out for us in our social medias platform, X, Instagram, YouTube, the Threads, the Blue Skies, everywhere. Oh, please always look out for yesterday's Orange Talk. The boys went out to We Got Soccer with Jonathan Bond and Griffin Dorsey at We Got Soccer. So it was a live podcast, but it's still available right now on our platform. So listen to it. It was a really great interview, really great guys to have. Not only just them to having those interviews with players, but also the Houston Dynamo Football Club to promote it as well. So it was really good to have everyone. So hopefully me and Diego can have the opportunity. It was in person.
Maggie.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I think we need to if the Dash qualify for playoffs. I think that's where like we need it now. Yeah, but
If the Dash qualify for the playoffs, I am flying wherever they go.
flying wherever we go. It's go. Most likely it's gonna be at Washington or KC.
Wait,
We'll
that's
see.
a good point. If they go to Washington, I'm going to that.
Yeah. I think they might go the last playoff the place, so it might be. I
Might
can't.
be KC.
I can't remember if the first seed plays. I think the first seed do play. I don't
The
think they have a
first
bye.
could play.
Yeah, they don't have a bye no more. So I think the
No,
first seed do play. So if the Dash get the last, let's see, let me check. Now you got me thinking about it. You got me thinking about it. I gotta look at the
I don't
table.
know.
Yeah, it's eight playoffs, so it's no point unless the first two seeds get up. Wow, that was gonna beat the teams on even. I don't know. I don't remember. It's too late, bro. It's too late, bro.
Oh,
But it is what it is. At this point, like it is what it is. But no,
yeah.
but I think you're just gonna see it what and how the games go out, and just very see how I think it's just very interesting, very very interesting how the Dash can pull up, in this. I think just see how it goes. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, Diego could go to a playoff game. Hopefully, Diego could see and see how it goes and everything, and see how it will be turned out. I'm scared. We'll see how it goes.
We need to.
But we'll see how it goes. But thank you all. Thank you for tuning in. Always look out for even our sponsors as well. Before I forget, we do have Elotes Bravos. Elotes Bravos. Just a quick note. Got a shout out for Hispanic
Yeah,
Heritage. Yeah, for Robert, their owner, to see how driven he is in the Hispanic culture and his business, how it shows. I love going there. Robert knows. He knows that I go there like 2 times a game because sometimes the food is not that great anywhere else. But that's my opinion, But especially during dice games, nothing's really open except elote. So I just go there and eat
that
myself.
just shows the hustle.
Yeah, but and also shout out to We Got Soccer and Ugly Guppy as well. So thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully next week that
We gotta win.
they actually get a win and be in a playoff spot and build from there. So we'll see you all next week. Hold it down. Bye.